Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback Friday, your opportunity to get some good review by listening to episodes from the past that Jason has handpicked to help you today in the present and propel you into the future. Enjoy.
Speakers, publishers, consultants, coaches, and info marketers unite. The Speaking of Wealth show is your roadmap to success and significance. Learn the latest tools, technologies, and tactics to get more bookings, sell more products, and attract more clients. If you're looking to increase your direct response sales, create a big-time personal brand, and become the go-to guru, the Speaking of Wealth show is for you. Here's your host, Jason Hartman.
Welcome to the Speaking of Wealth show. This is your host, Jason Hartman, where we discuss profit strategies for speakers, publishers, authors, consultants, coaches, info marketers, and just go over a whole bunch of exciting things that you can use to increase your business, to make your business more successful and more passive and more automated and more scalable. So we will be back with a great interview. Be sure to visit us at speakingofwealth.com. You can take advantage of our blog, subscribe to the RSS feed, and many other resources for free at speakingofwealth.com. And we will be back with a great interview for you in less than 60 seconds. It's my pleasure to welcome our guest from the United Kingdom today, Steve Mills. He is the Prudent marketer and founder of the LinkedIn Academy, and will talk to us about some tips and ways that we can use marketing with almost no money, and also use LinkedIn very successfully. Steve, welcome. How are you?
Welcome. Yeah, thank you. And it's great to be here, and looking forward to the conversation today.
Good. Well, what is your marketing without money formula?
Well, I believe one of the things that coaches, consultants, advisors need to really do is to be prudent with their marketing. Most businesses, there's a limited budget, and there's only so much time, money, and effort that businesses can spend. And my system that I've developed is all about being prudent, making sure, firstly, that you measure what's working and what's not. I've been involved in businesses now for over 20 years, and most businesses don't measure their marketing effectively. Step two is what I call the scoreboard, and that is basically looking at saying, how can you get more out of what you're already doing? Step three is skill development. So are there additional strategies that you're not necessarily using right now that you could? A lot of people tend to, for example, speakers out there might be focusing on 1, 2, or 3 different ways of generating income right now, and possibly neglecting other opportunities that may be available in the market. So I help people to do that. Then comes a real big one, and that is, how can you get more out of your current clients? And again, not one in 100 businesses, I really think, fully harvest the what I call the pot of gold that's often sitting there within their current database. And then sort of step 5 is all about maximization. How do you get more out of what you're already doing? And my sixth step to the system is really about what I call it coaching for the future. And it's really about trying to utilize some of the changes in marketing that are going on right now. Some of the new technology and new ideas that this ever-changing world that we live in is producing for the world of marketing.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, let's drill down on some of these and talk about how we can use them specifically. For example, if one has a new Kindle book that they've published, they want to get on the more speaking gigs on the speaking circuit, or more coaching clients, what are some of the things they can do very specifically to increase their exposure and results?
Well, one of the areas I specialize in is I think one of the sort of really underused marketing resources that I almost guarantee that every listener on the interview today will be fully aware of, and that is the fantastic website that is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an awesome website. And when I speak at conferences and events, I'm a speaker also, I get told, I say, who's on LinkedIn? How many people in the room on LinkedIn? And virtually everybody puts their hand up. I then say, so who's using it on a regular basis? They're out there, every day they're on LinkedIn, they're using the various strategies. And probably, out of 100 people, probably about 10 people put their hand up. I then say, okay, so who's actually winning business from LinkedIn? And the same 10 people put their hand up. One of the problems, I think, with LinkedIn is understanding the full range of different marketing opportunities that there are on there, because it's not complicated, but it's complex. There's lots of different things. In my workshops, for example, I teach 44 different ways of winning business on LinkedIn, and I think most people tend to use 2 or 3 or 4 different opportunities. And for speakers, consultants, trainers, people like that, this is just the probably, arguably, the best form of marketing without money right now on the planet.
Well, what are some of the techniques specifically that they can use to make this platform come alive? It's certainly known as the business social networking platform.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's often called the social, the business social media, or the Facebook for business. I've heard it called many things, but it's currently 238 million people connected worldwide, and that is, to me, one big networking event. And I suppose there's many things, but if I give you one of my favorites, which is something that most businesses don't actually realize, and that is by posting some information out through the homepage and then creating a link back to your website from that page. You can do 2 things. One, you can drive traffic to your website. Now, I get over 1,000 people from LinkedIn to my website every single month. And number 2 is, if you then, once you've posted that link out, just underneath the link, there's a little button called share. If you click on that button and then tick the box that says share to groups, what this enables you to do is to share that post with your groups, the groups that you're in. So let's say, for example, you put a link back to a book. You've just launched a new book. It's on your website. You've got a nice page there, and it's all set up. People can buy online, all that sort of stuff. So you go onto LinkedIn, you post on your homepage, and you send that out. Now, if you've already linked LinkedIn to Twitter, that means you get a 2-for-1 anyway. So you post it out to LinkedIn, and it automatically goes out to Twitter. But then, if you click the share link and tick the box to groups, and then you upload all your groups, you can send a message out not only to your LinkedIn and Twitter connections, but to each and every member of your group. Now, for me, I'm in 46 different groups, and you're allowed to join 50 of them. I'm in 46, and the total number of members that means I'm able to send a marketing message out is just over 1.5 million people. I can send a marketing message out to all those people for free in less than 10 minutes. I'm old enough to remember when I want to send a marketing message out just to 1,000 people, that cost me 1,000 stamps and 1,000 envelopes and an afternoon of work. And I can do it now on LinkedIn for nothing inside just probably less than 10 minutes. So that would be, for speakers out there, that would be an awesome opportunity to get your message out to a mass market of people for free.
So why LinkedIn over, say, Facebook or Twitter? Are you really a fan of LinkedIn? Is that your primary focus?
For me, yeah. I mean, it just seemed naturally when the world exploded in terms of, everybody's talking about social media and how important it is. And it just seemed to me that, if you look at target market, who are your target market? Well, for me, they're business people. And, on LinkedIn, I'm able to target pretty much most of the people are, either business owners, senior management. There's massive event organizer groups and things. It's just more targeted. Whereas, Facebook and Twitter and everything, they've got almost the world on there these days. But it's the targeting, I think. That's the thing that really appeals to me.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, what else?
Well, I suppose one of the keys to LinkedIn would be the number of connections you've got, and I think this is a weakness that a lot of people have. They're on LinkedIn, they're connected to maybe a few hundred people, and they occasionally get asked to connect to other people, but they don't really know them, so they never quite know whether to accept or not. In my opinion, this is a great opportunity because there are two key drivers of sales here. One is the number of people. Going out there and finding your target market and connecting to them on LinkedIn is just the easiest thing in the world to do. If I want to do business, I don't know, let's say, for example, I want to speak at the Vodafone conference next year, and or any large corporate, how do you find the names of the people who are involved in that market? Are you going to phone Vodafone up and ask them for who's responsible for that and actually get the names of the people? We all know how tough it is to win business from corporates, and actually even to just get the names of the people that I need to speak to can sometimes take months. And yet on LinkedIn, I can do that almost instantly. I can go onto LinkedIn, I can type in Vodafone event organizers or conference organizers or training department, and that will just give me a list of everybody who falls under that particular section. I could do Vodafone training managers, and that will give me a list of everybody who works for Vodafone who are a training manager. Now, maybe I don't want to target a particular company, I want to select a particular industry. So I could do hotel industry training managers, because I provide training to the hotel industry. So I can find people, and often through groups on LinkedIn as well. This is an important fact. Once I'm a member of the same group as someone, that gives me access to all their information. So I can find their mobile, their email. I can certainly send them an email through LinkedIn because we're in the same group. And again, a lot of people don't realize that. Now, just to clarify, I'm not in any way saying that Facebook isn't fantastic as well, and so is Twitter. I really believe both of those websites and many, many more social media sites are great. But for me, certainly LinkedIn is the one that works terrifically well.
Well, outside of LinkedIn, do you want to drill down on any of the tips? You mentioned 6 of them.
Yeah, well, I'd say one of the skills that speakers, consultants, trainers, people on the line today need to think about is I would submit that probably most of the people listening today win most, if not a significant amount of their business from referral, from personal recommendation, from past customers, people that they know, etc., etc. My question to everybody is, if that is the case, then what is your referral marketing system or systems? In other words, how could you be more proactive than you are right now at winning referral business? Because if this happens, if I go and do a talk somewhere, do a training, do some consultancy work, and as a result of that, people may or may not recommend me. But what I believe is what we need to try to do is to be more proactive with it. I'll give you an example. Let's say I speak at a big conference, and at the end of the conference, a couple of days later, I call and I'm just calling to say thank you, really enjoyed speaking, glad I got so much nice feedback, and I'm building a bit of rapport here. And then I say to the organizer, to be honest, I win most of my business from word of mouth, from personal recommendation. And tell me, how long have you been in the conference organisation, booking speakers? Oh, many, many years. Okay, so I was wondering whether you could possibly help me. Could you think of perhaps two or three people that I might be able to help in the same way that I have you? Would that be possible at all? Now, okay, that might not be exactly the most fantastic script ever, but the point being that I'm being proactive, I'm picking up the phone and I'm speaking to people, speaking to customers, speaking to people that I know, and so on, in order to try to win more business. Now, some people have a little bit of a hard time with that. They say, oh, it's tough, I feel uncomfortable, I'm not really sure I could do it. But my advice is just, get over it, just go and do it, because it works fantastically well. I'd say out of 10 calls, I get probably 5 clients as a result of that. 50% conversion rate. That's a 50% growth in the size of my business. Let me just look at it this way. Let's say people on the phone, you've got 100 clients right now, and over the next year, you call those 100 clients once, and on average, they give you one referral each. Now, I appreciate some of them won't give you any referrals. Some of them might give you 2 or 3 or 4, who knows? And because they're referrals, they tend to be good quality leads. And so you convert, let's say, just 50% of those into new business. What have you just done? You've just grown your business by 50% without spending a penny, or a cent in your case, on marketing. You spent nothing on marketing whatsoever. And one final point on this: what's the worst thing that could happen? You don't win any business. What's the best thing that could happen? You grow, you double, you triple your business with using one of the best marketing without money strategies on the planet today. And I've just illustrated one. There's many more. You could offer some sort of bonus, an incentive. There's so many different ways you can win business from referral, and I think that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah. Well, it's really amazing what we can do nowadays. The power we have to connect, and I like to say that the cost of failure in businesses has gone down dramatically. You can
Sure.
You can do things, and just be very prudent. Don't spend a lot of money, and you can experiment. You can afford to nowadays.
Yeah, so many things you can test very, very easily. A lot of people, just going back to LinkedIn for a moment, a lot of people are not aware of the pay-per-click advertising on LinkedIn that allows you to target specific people. So, for example, you could set up if you were based, I don't know, in New York, you could set up a pay-per-click advertising campaign in New York that is only seen by event organizers or training managers. And you can segment it to such a level that only they can see it. So if I wanted to target training managers in New York of businesses turning over, let's say, at least $5 million, then I can do that on LinkedIn, and only that small little sector get to see my advert. The other thing that LinkedIn is really good for is getting testimonials. There's a system on there that enables you to get loads and loads of testimonials. I've got, I think, something like 80 odd testimonials on LinkedIn, and the reason for that is that I just ask people, would you recommend me? People come on my workshops, and I always say, I hope you enjoyed the workshop. If you did, would you recommend me? And they do most of the time. Most of the people do, and yet most people, when I speak to them, I say, how many testimonials have you got on LinkedIn? Actually, it's called recommendations on LinkedIn, but it's the same thing. They say, well, I not really got any at all, Steve. Well, that's an opportunity again. And I'm all about trying to get businesses to just raise their game. How can you do better? Examine every single thing within your business. You're under a microscope. Your website, is that optimized as well as it could be? Your Facebook profile, does that look as good? What can you do to improve that? And that's what business is all about. I think it's business, and I come from a sports background, and I used to play at international level many years ago. And I think I've got a certain mindset as a result that I always believe you've got to get more out of yourself. And I think business owners have got to get more out of themselves, and in particular in the marketing side. You've got to raise your game in your marketing to push it to new levels and develop new skills and learn some of the modern stuff that's around, like remarketing, and the use of pay-per-click advertising now is just an awesome opportunity. But like most things, it can be done well or it can be done badly, and pay-per-click's a great way of wasting a lot of money if it's done badly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, before you go, give out your websites if you would. Then I've got a question for you about the LinkedIn Academy.
Yeah, sure. I got a couple of websites. You can join the LinkedIn Academy, which is www.thelinkedinacademy.com. You can sign up as a member. It's free to join, and I give you updates, tips, and information on how to use LinkedIn. Or my other website is Prudent Marketer, www.theprudentmarketer.com, and on there's loads of information, again, very sort of videos and some great stuff. Again, you can sign up to get a book that I wrote called The 10 Biggest Lead Generation Mistakes. It's all free. There's loads of free stuff on there, so go and have a look at that.
Yeah, fantastic. And the LinkedIn Academy, I assume there's a more formal course or something, right? That's probably you charge for?
Yeah, I do workshops, I do webinars, I do a sort of 8-week webinar, sort of 40 minutes a week on how to use LinkedIn. I've got a DVD program that people can buy, and seminars that I do, all that sort of stuff, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And are there any other resources that you want to mention to people before you go?
No, yeah, I think I'm sort of pretty happy with that. If you'd like to join as a LinkedIn Academy member, that would be great. Sign up for the book on the Prudent Marketing Academy, and just if you'd like to do one of those two things, that would be brilliant.
Fantastic. Well, Steve Mills, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure, and thank you for your time.
Now you can get Jason's Creating Wealth in Today's Economy home study course. All the knowledge and education revealed in a 9-hour day of the Creating Wealth Bootcamp, created in a home study course for you to dive into at your convenience. For more details, go to jasonhartman.com. This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company, all rights reserved. For distribution or publication rights and media interviews, please visit www.hartmanmedia.com or email media@hartmanmedia.com. Nothing on this show should be considered specific personal or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions of guests are their own, and the host is acting on behalf of Platinum Properties Investor Network, Inc. exclusively.